Hello, Doctor Who fans across the world, wherever you are. Stop what you're doing right now and check this out. On this week's episode of Who Corner to Corner, Jeff and I'm Paul, by the way, we are delighted to welcome a man who not only lives, breathes and bleeds Doctor Who as part of his brand new swanky job, but who has also spent time getting to know the secret lives of Thomas the Tank Engine, Casper the Friendly Ghost, Spider-Man, Power Rangers and Barbie, amongst others. In fact, he's worked on so many magazine titles and been invited to so many free lunches that alongside his collection of embossed menus and pilfered silverware, he's probably still got all the free glow-in-the-dark stickers and various action spinners that Panini have ever given away in the last 30 years. And if that doesn't give you a clue as to who he is, I will add that this is a fellow who, in an alternative universe, by his colourful dress sense alone, is the actual Sixth Doctor. Yes, friends, Doctor Who fans all over the universe, tonight our very special guest is none other than the effervescent and beautifully bequiffed editor of Doctor Who magazine himself, Mr. Jason Quinn.
Yes! Wow.
Hey,
what an intro.
Jason. That's all right, mate. Don't you worry about that. We like to big our guests up, you know. But it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. We've been trying to get hold of you for a long time, but you're such a busy person, and we are absolutely grateful beyond belief that you can join us tonight. So thank you.
I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm sorry I've been such a bitch, haven't I? I have let you down the last two occasions.
I would never say that.
Thank God you sent that email this morning as well.
Oh, don't say that.
No, I had remembered. I actually
Brilliant.
did remember, and I'd marked it. I've got my Peanuts calendar up in the kitchen, and I put it down there that and I thought, it's a Sunday, nothing's going to interfere with
in the way.
Nothing's going to get in the way. Well, it's been a busy few months, hasn't it? You know,
Russell didn't phone and say we've got another premiere tonight or anything. You know?
No, thankfully. Otherwise I would have had to have let him down. I couldn't have done it again.
I think the priorities
he'll have understood.
He would.
So, I mean, with that then, I mean, it must have been a busy few months for you guys and Doctor Who magazine. Just give us a rundown of what you've been doing in the last few weeks with all the launches and everything else.
Oh, it's been mental since, because I think I came on board in the late summer and it was suddenly a rush that, do you want to do it? And I was, because I'd wanted to do it years ago, like a good few years ago, and then Marcus did it.
Marcus Hearn.
Yes, he pipped me to the post.
Oh, did he?
And so I was like, oh, great, okay, fine, that's good. And of course, I'd known Marcus for years as well. We were still Marvel UK years and years earlier in the 90s. And he was great for it, but I'd wanted to do it since then, and so suddenly it came along, and I was like, brilliant. But I had a holiday booked over in South Africa. Oh damn! Okay, this is it's not like this comes along very often. But I've got this to do. Anyway, I managed to get both in, and thanks to Peter Ware, who was deputy editor at the time, managed to sort of liaise while I was away over, and there's only 2-hour time difference in South Africa.
It's not that bad, is it really?
We managed to liaise with my first issue going out, and I think it went to press about 2 days after I got back.
Wow.
I know
it's a bit tight, isn't it?
It was tight, but we got everything sort of in order before I went away, and then there were a couple of sort of hiccups he had to deal with, but it was, anyway, thank God for Peter. And so it started off hectic, and then each month then, obviously up until when the specials started airing, it was, oh God, now we've got this, and but for me, I just felt so blessed in a way coming in at this point, because Doctor Who fans can be quite tricky and they can be quite opinionated.
No, really?
We've encountered no such thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I hate to say they love to complain, but
we do. It's true. Yeah.
They like to complain. And I was like, oh God, they're going to crucify me. They're going to, oh God. So I was so lucky, actually, that when I came in, we were getting from Russell and Bad Wolf and from the BBC, we were getting so much access and so much material that, we actually couldn't fit it all in. So, really? I mean, I was so lucky to come in at this time when there was so much, it was getting so much coverage. There was so much interest in Doctor Who. And it was, and the buzz was all so up about it that I was so, if it had been where, if Russell wanted to keep things close to his chest, not give us access until after, it might have been awful and horrible, but it was a joy. It was such a play and so exciting then to be part of it and knowing what was coming and what was up to some extent, knowing what was coming and just thinking, oh my God, this is going to be so great. This is so I was incredibly lucky. It was really full on, and people, when I started, they were like, you've got your job cut out. It's going to be really difficult these few months coming up to this. It's going to be almost impossible. And it wasn't almost impossible. In fact, it was kind of long hours and full on, but it was a real pleasure. It was such a joy and such a dream job, and you keep saying to yourself, the amount of people that would kill to be doing what I'm doing, and that it would be so churlish to complain and moan and say, oh, I'm so tired. But you didn't even have time to be tired. And it was such kind of fun anyway. And you were kind of doing what you'd be doing for nothing. Well, no, you wouldn't. I can't say that. But it was certainly such a great pleasure working on it in those months coming up to when the specials aired, and then Christmas, of course. So it's been really, really full on, but so exciting as well. And I don't think since 2005, I don't think there's been that buzz about the show.
Since the original reboot.
When it came back. I don't think, maybe 1996 or maybe there were sort of moments, but this time it's been so full on. And I mean, you see Ncuti Gatwa, he's everywhere. Talk about man of the year. It's like, it's you just think, oh God, I hope our cover looks different enough from every magazine that's out there that he's on, because he's just everywhere. Talk about Big Brother's watching you. This is Ncuti is watching you. But so it's been such fun.
I say we're very pleased you were able to make it work out to take the job, and I don't know if you've had anything like that in work in the past. I've had it occasionally at work where you've already got something lined up, whether it's like family holiday or something, then a really big and exciting job comes in, you think, oh, what do I do? And
it's like 3 buses coming in all at once, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I was, oh God, do I do this? Do I do the holiday? I kind of thought, well, I've got to do the holiday. I really, really want it. And you know what? I'll feel so great when I when I come back. Unfortunately, I wasn't that energized when I came back. I got tick fever. I was bitten by a tick out in the bush in South Africa. I spent about 2 weeks being so ill. So it was, but still managed to deal with it. But it
fought through it.
Oh my goodness. I suppose, we've kind of been lucky, haven't we? We've been spoiled for Doctor Who in a way, because really we've had two regenerations like
I
in a
know.
very short space of time. So we've had like, and the 14th Doctor, the
Yeah.
specials, this whole 60th anniversary thing, and now we're going into, we just had the Christmas special, and now we've got a whole new Doctor sort of coming in. It's
insane, isn't it?
it's totally
It's so
insane.
good. And also,
Madness.
I mean, with the 14th Doctor, I mean, with
Mm.
David Tennant and Catherine Tate, and you know, I mean, what a joy for them to be back.
Yeah.
And then the big, you know, obviously the
Mm.
bi-generation was such fun and kind of,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, controversial and everything. But
But something to
I
talk
kind of
about, isn't it?
loved it. I loved that it
Mm.
was, and that we didn't get another heartbreakingly farewell
Yeah.
to David. Yeah,
Mm.
it's like no, great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it started a bit like that, didn't it? And then it kind of,
Well, it was
veered off.
leading us up to
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
wasn't it? In fact, right from the word go, right from the Star Beast, it was we're going to get our hearts broken.
Yeah.
We're going to be so,
in some way or another.
yeah. But then it was so perfect that it wasn't like that, and you know, hey, for once we all get a happy ending.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, David Tennant as the 10th Doctor said at the end, doesn't he? I don't want to go. And obviously, it's the 14th Doctor. He doesn't have to go. He's around forever now. He can stay. That's it.
And it was so good that we don't get that. You know, it really did turn it on its head and did take people by surprise. And I love Russell's thing of like, as soon as he hears people saying you can't do that, he feels,
why not?
You've got to
bloody do it. Yeah.
You've got
I don't care what you think. Yeah.
The show needs to do new things, doesn't it, to keep it interesting and keep the people talking about it and stuff. And if he played it safe, you'd go, oh, that was good, but whether you liked the bi-generation or not, it we're talking about it and it's happened, and it's given it a big another big boost in the narrative for it.
Well, it definitely has, and it's with Doctor Who as well, it constantly reinvents itself.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the secret to it lasting so long, is nothing's forever. Although Doctor Who kind of is.
Seems could be, yeah.
It's sort of it, but all those periods of things, and everyone has had sort of phases of the show that they've not liked, or I remember back when Patrick Troughton turned into John Pertwee, and I was
distraught.
I was distraught. I mean, I was just a little kid. I must have been about 6, and I was like, no, and now we've got this old guy, it was just the white hair and no. I was determined to hate as a 6-year-old, and of course I didn't, and I loved him, and he was fantastic. But it's always had that effect, and those feelings don't stay the same, and they do change. And even if I can't think of a Doctor that I haven't liked. I think there's certain stories I've not enjoyed particularly, but and even then, quite often, if you go back to them, actually, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
We both think there's always something to enjoy,
always something.
At the very least, it's going to be the Doctor, whichever one it might be, because they're
always a joy to watch.
Yeah,
they are, and and it is so inspiring, and so and the Doctor is always there for you, for whoever you are, and you kind of just know that there's someone out there rooting for you, and that's going to look after you, and that's going to, and then any phases of the show that people don't like, well, things go round, things change, and that era that you're not keen on is going to change soon enough. So it'll be something else.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's pointless getting wound up or angry or, and the amount of people that you sort of see things like, oh, that's it, the show is dead. Well, they've been saying that, yes. I said it when I was 5.
It's been dying for a long
and
time.
How wrong that was.
It's been a while, isn't it? So what are, and Jason, your earliest memories of Doctor Who? Are we talking Patrick Troughton then? Are we going back that far?
Yeah, I mean, they've most of my bigger memory would have been John Pertwee, but definitely I remember being in my grandparents and watching the Yeti and the abominable coming down mountain.
That was my Yeti impression there. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was a good one.
Pretty good,
yeah.
I didn't even bat an eyelid at that.
He doesn't. He never bats an
eyelid. Funny turn again.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
And Cybermats, I remember them.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh. And for some reason, finding them really, really terrifying.
Really?
Cybermats, yeah.
They're kind of creepy little things, though, aren't they? With their little silver and they.
Yeah. Well, they were a bit like, the little silverfish.
Yes, that's it.
And then I think I must have seen some of them and thinking, oh, I wonder if they are. And, so it's the fact that Doctor Who's always been probably with all of us, all our lives, really, to some extent. It's always there. There's very few shows like it, and you think, God, okay, what is there that's always been? Well, maybe James Bond, but
again, that's a movie thing, isn't it? With a film every sort of 4 or 5 years, or even every decade now. It's like 10 years between each movie. But and isn't it great that Doctor Who now in this kind of rebooted format has done almost 20 years, which is kind of incredible when you think about it.
Yeah. It is. It's
almost 20 years. We just. And
And
there was that time in the 90s when we thought we were never going to get any more Doctor Who again. We thought, after the kind of failed, quotation fingers, 8th Doctor attempt, and it was all canned, and we thought, well, that's it. That's the last we're ever going to see of our wonderful show. And now a whole new generation.
Sad that didn't. I mean, maybe it all worked out for the best. That it didn't work out.
Indeed.
There's a what if there, isn't there?
Like what if a Marvel what if? Yes.
Yeah.
What would have happened? But it's like you said, Jason. It's the show is always with us, and we've talked about this before, Paul. But I remember watching Sylvester on TV, and when the show finished then, and then I kind of moved on to other things, and Paul, remember you were shocked that I didn't know about Target books and stuff like that.
I was mortified, Jason. I was mortified. How can you not know about Target books?
But I was quite a bit younger then, and but then when it came back with Paul McGann, I remember going and buying the VHS of it, and it stuck in my head enough that that's back. Let's have another look at that. And see what that's like. And then when that didn't carry on, okay, well that's done. But then when it came back again with Chris Eccleston, there was enough memory of it all to get back into it. And I remember I watched the first 3 episodes of that series, and then I had work, and it kind of didn't carry on with it. But then I bought that. Do you remember that massive TARDIS box that they did?
I do, yes.
Which eats up like most of my shelf. And I bought that, and I watched it all in a weekend, and I was like, it's great. It was so good. And so
it was such a great season series that when it came back, and it was there's not 1 week episode.
No, not at all.
I love it. Yeah. It's a good one.
Strong. It is now. It stands up to it today. Well.
I mean, can you imagine back then? I mean, you got an insight into Russell's era and everything else, but I know he's even back then he was a famous TV writer. He'd had a few successes under his belt. He was very highly respected, very highly regarded, and he had the backing of the guys behind him who wanted to bring it back. There was but can you imagine just sitting down to write that first episode, thinking of the weight of responsibility on his shoulders? Will it work? Won't it work? Will anybody remember it? Will people hate it? Well, was it going to die death? Will it be? You know what I mean? All that doubt in your head is.
I mean, I think Yeah, I mean, there must have, and I mean, he must have had
Mm.
doubts in his head as well. I mean, great though he is, and
Yeah.
and he comes across as so confident. You wouldn't be human if you weren't, oh, what if I screw up here?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Or even what if we do all this work and nobody watches,
And
after 5 episodes,
but I
they think,
mean, the thing is, I do think with Doctor, it's such a part of the culture. And
yeah,
it was
agrees.
even
Yeah.
then, and during the 90s, like it did get a big audience for that TV movie. And I remember how exciting it was when it did come back.
Yeah.
And also so gutting that it wasn't taken up. But I do think they kind of, I think with that, and again, I enjoyed it. And
Yeah.
I did enjoy it, but it was more not the show than the show is now.
Yeah.
Or
it did feel very different, didn't it? I mean, there was something about it that was
it must have been the
intrinsically Doctor Who,
transatlantic sort of American sort of influence. Whereas I do think, I mean, we sort of say Doctor Who is so British, but
I'm not sure if it is really.
Yeah, me neither.
You don't? No, good. It's
no,
not just me.
I actually talk about this like in one of the editorials I've done recently. That I don't think it is. It is, but it isn't. It's almost like watching a Korean drama or a K-drama because it's got all the emotion in it and all that, which and it's got the humor and it's got the horror and it's got it mixes stuff up, which British TV doesn't do that often. British TV tends to be very much, or has been, I think, on a very linear kind of level. So if you've got a gritty drama, then everyone's going to be a bit northern. They're all going to oh no, Sophie, no, I'm telling no, oh no, what are you doing? And there's not going to be a hint of joy or humor or anything,
very dour,
because they're going to think anyone from the north of Watford has no sense of humor. And it's all going to be dour and as miserable as
and it's probably going to be raining as well, for the added drama. Let's put some rainfall in there. Definitely at night.
And they think if you've got murder in, you can't be having a laugh. But you can, because people do.
Yeah, they do.
And it's a way of getting through all the crap.
It is
a laugh. I mean, who hasn't had a giggle at a funeral? Who hasn't had, you just do, and you find humor in the most awful things, and because it gets you through it. And that's what's beautiful about Korean dramas or other things. They're actually really funny, and they're not afraid to show, mix the emotion and the schmaltz and everything, but also with humor and then with horror and with fear. And I think Doctor Who does that
I think you're right.
Well. It mixes unashamed emotional sort of sentimentality.
It does. I mean, even in the old series, I think there's something like Pyramids of Mars.
It does,
right? which has a sort of creepy menace to it, right? Has that whole gothic Hammer House horror feel, which kind of gets you, and that, and it's in some ways seems very British because it comes from that sort of tradition of the Hammer House thing. But what's kind of counterpoint in that is Tom Baker just punching holes through all of it. He's alternately grumpy. He makes bad jokes, inappropriate jokes that nevertheless still make you laugh at the same time. When he shoves Marcus Scarman's body to one side and makes a quip about it, and Sarah's horrified. You know what I mean?
But that's the beauty of it. And it has done it since then and throughout. And it actually is genius, because it's so much. And I mean, I know it's ridiculous that we talk about things being realistic, and when we're talking about with aliens but it's reality.
There's kind of truth to it. Is that what you mean?
React.
Because if we weren't interested in the characters in it and believed in them and cared about them, none of the aliens or spaceships blowing up,
mean anything,
it doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't. It would just be dull. That would just be a bit of set dressing.
And
it it really, that is what makes it such a great show, I think. And definitely the writing and the mix of it, and the mix of sort of genres, and
yes,
it's not afraid
melting pot
humor in. And so many other things are, especially in British TV, I say more than European TV or world TV, where they do mix it up a bit more. In fact, when I was rewatching all of these over the summer, all the sort of Russell's ones, and I did ask him, I said, are you a fan of K-dramas? Because there's so much of this, it's sort of, you know, the kind of emotional sort of stuff. And he admitted he hadn't actually seen any apart from Squid Game, which doesn't but you know, and so I was like, well, you've got to get a treat. Actually, there's so many great ones out there.
So when that influence really comes through in you know, the series after next,
you will
thank you.
Spot it.
Well, it made me think then that maybe, you know what, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the writers of all these have been watching him and watching Doctor Who all these years, and so the influence is the other way around.
Yes, the other way around. But you're right though. There was, you know, I can't think of any other show that can bend this much the way Doctor Who can. You know, every
very
episode,
flexible,
somewhere new, something new. You know, it can do almost anything. And,
it can.
You know, I think I said this to you as well before, Paul. But quite often I watch something on TV, and it's exactly like you're saying, Jason. You know, it might well be, you know, a gritty crime drama or something, and you know, you'll get an action film like this or something. You think, oh my god, it's so po-faced and it's so dull and overly serious. And some people like it. That's great. But you know, for me, there's got to be that little spark, a bit of humor, and a bit.
There has to be something,
you know, to just to give you a bit of light and shade in it as well. And, you know, not just one note all the time. And you know, you could see that in the three specials that we had recently. You know,
yes, three
Star
very
Beast
different.
Was, you know, whiz bang aliens. You know, I watched that with my kids, and you know, I thought the meat was brilliant. And then, you know, Wild Blue Yonder was, you know, a bit kind of dark and, you know, weird and
a bit more metaphysical, Kafka-esque, and all that sort of thing.
It was.
And my kids said, "Oh, can we watch Doctor Who this week?" And I said, "You know what? I don't think so this week." You know, they're 5 and 9. I mean, my 9-year-old might have been okay, but you know, it was quite big in its concepts, and it was quite dark.
It was,
you know, a bit scary and stuff. And then the giggle was, you know, like bonkers fun. After that,
it was bonkers fun, but also terrifying as well. If you think some of those things come right out of, which another thing Doctor Who does so well is it captures your childhood fears or childhood imagination so well. Like even say Wild Blue Yonder, just that thing about the arms are too big, are too big.
Yeah, that we said on the podcast, that was very much almost like a David Lynch thing, isn't it? It's the sort of thing he would on a script.
Weird. It was so all it would need would be some good eerie piano music.
Yeah.
Judy, singing it. And it was so David Lynch. It was. And then with the giggle, I mean, those puppets and the...
Oh my goodness, they were scary.
Oh my God, they so were. And then with Paul, what's his name? The guy then who was suddenly turned into a puppet.
But, I mean, that was kind of freaky.
It was more, I mean, it was real sort of nightmare territory.
And then
the whole sequence in there
was
like
really
an anxiety.
It was, I think the scariest thing of the whole thing, the giggle, the thing that freaked me out the most was the Spice Girls in it. I mean, that just terrified me.
Wow, yeah.
Always found them scary.
That's
I had to go running
example.
from the room. I went screaming away to the back room. I can't do it.
What other shows can do something like that? You know, you know, Neil Patrick Harris, he was so good in it.
He was good, wasn't he?
Wasn't he good?
Blasting around like that with the Spice Girls playing, turning people into, you know, rose petals and balloons. Or
genius casting. Genius casting, really, wasn't it?
I mean, it so was, but also it's Yeah, those 3 episodes. Well, I mean, let's add the Christmas special as well.
Yes,
4 episodes
we can.
could not be more different.
Yeah.
In tone, in in everything. They were all so different. It could have been 4 different shows.
Yeah.
4 different, you know, really, that's how different they were.
Yeah.
And it's good for the future, isn't it? You know, to show us in 4 stories how Doctor Who can sort of play loose and free and still spin a brilliant story. You know, it shows that we're going to get more of this going forward. You know, it's still got so much life left in it.
I think it's the beauty of it, and the great thing about Doctor is you never know what's going to come next.
No, that's it. And I never want to know what's going to come next. That's the thing. That's what's always kept me watching. But we still like to complain at times, Jason, like you said right at the start.
Well, you have to. But
it's part of the thing, isn't it?
And people always will. And but also you will have, it's like, I'm not a massive fan of polls. Yeah, and I know we have them in the magazine, and we have them. I don't really like them very much.
Yeah, we don't.
Somebody's always got to come bottom, or something's always got to be the bottom, isn't it?
Well, I just would not show that. I know we got a lot of, you know, we got a fair few people complaining that you're not showing the whole, you know, you're only
like top 10 or yeah.
Why would you want to rub someone's nose in? Oh, you came bottom. You know,
that bottom episode will be someone else's favorite. You know,
exactly.
And also,
it could be.
Everyone who worked on that put their heart and soul into it, and no one sets out to make a bad episode. You know.
Yeah, no one sets out thinking I'm going to do something really crap now.
Yeah.
I might do that though, just for a laugh.
Just spend a couple of $1 million or pounds of BBC money on an awful episode.
So you would not, and yes, you can. I think if something gets an overwhelming majority of people loving it and think, you deserve to celebrate that, but I don't think you deserve to crucify someone who's had the misfortune of their thing as not, because someone's going to like it.
And,
absolutely.
And, do you remember when I think it was Colin Baker? You know, he came bottom in the Doctor.
He told us that story, didn't he?
And he was genuinely quite upset about it. I think,
he was.
And,
I hate the idea that he would, because I love Colin Baker.
Yeah,
same.
I really, really love, and I actually think if considering that, most of us love the Doctor that was the Doctor during our childhood formative years. So I was a little bit older then when he became the Doctor. But I absolutely loved what he did with it. And I loved I loved the bravery of it, that actually, you know what? He's actually doing something now, and he's being a bit of a dick. Not Colin himself. I mean,
his Doctor.
And I love the bravery of it. And
really brave, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think, I absolutely, I love him. So I think
his Doctor
fantastic.
And himself, he's gone on to have a great many adventures in Big Finish, and they've been brilliant, and
he's been such a great spokesman for the show.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas you think it'd be so easy for him to be like, sod you,
it would.
But I think he's such a gent, and such but I also think you know what, he's great. I love him as the Doctor, and I love, I actually really love his stories.
He was so funny when we spoke to him. When was it, Paul? Year and a bit
ago.
Now?
Yeah.
And we said it was the week of Power of the Doctor, and we said,
that's right.
We've heard, maybe companions and doctors might be coming back, and he said, no one phoned me. I didn't get a phone call at all, and I have no idea what's going on. And then 5 days later, we're watching the episode. He turns up, and I said, he lied. So even
he was good at it. His face never wavered, did it?
He was doing his job there, keeping the secrets.
He is fantastic.
He's brilliant.
I love him, and I do think he's probably the most unsung Doctor, sort of there, or underrated, but to me, I couldn't rate him high enough. I think he's
and
brilliant.
everyone who discovers him, you know, and like goes back and watches his TV stuff and listens on Big Finish, they realize actually, yeah, everything that was said isn't true at all. And he's a great doctor.
He is.
Absolutely.
I mean,
when you came into the magazine now, you know, there's just been a great glut of stuff that you can feature, and you know, which is fantastic. And you know, you've been able to see over the last couple of years when you know they haven't had that access and things like that, and the magazine feels so different in a good way now that, you know, there's all this extra stuff, you know, stuff that we haven't had, that, you know, richness of you know, talent interviews and crew and all of that stuff. You know,
we've been so lucky with that, and you know, there's plenty more coming up, and yeah, we've had so much that we have had to be like, oh, we're not going to fit it all in. Also, you do want to keep part of the magazine. You know, there's 60 years of material. You don't want it. I think we need to focus on the current era and the current, but you also never want to forget the old stuff.
Yes,
and
because I expect there's you know, the buying audience, some people buy it for the classic stuff, some people buy it for, you know, past New Who, and some people are probably buying it, you know, their first issue because they've seen Ncuti on the front. And, you know, so you've put, it's quite a balancing act, isn't it? I guess
it is a balancing. I mean, obviously you want the current stuff because a lot of the old stuff, you know, there's new ways of looking at old, you know, the old material, and there's new, you know, but the new stuff is, especially if you're bringing in new readers, and people will see Ncuti on the cover and think, oh, I'm going to pick that up, or let's have a look and see what it. And of course, it is a current show. I mean, let's face it, if you were buying a magazine about any show, you're going to be expecting all the latest
stuff on it,
and
latest goss
and latest stuff in there, and not so much about stuff that happened 40, 50 years ago. But at the same time, you don't want to ignore that. If there's an interesting feature on that, then great. You know,
I'll just say that I think you know, I used to buy a lot of, you know, film magazines and stuff, and and as with the you know, advance of the internet, and you know, you get all of the info online, and the magazines, you know, magazines became less and less kind of interest. You know, like, I've seen all these pictures, I've read all of this, you know, but genuinely, DWM is always offering stuff that we're not getting online. You know, and that's why I've subscribed.
And that must be so hard to do, especially with so many lights shining on the show and everybody wanting a piece of Ncuti and everything else.
Well, we again, that's why I can't say how lucky we've been in that Russell is a fan of the magazine.
You
know, he grew up reading it, or you know, he's read it sort of since issue 1. I mean, okay, he would, you know, in his teens, and you know, so it's like he loves the mag, and he does make sure that we get new material, we get something. You know, there's going to be something there for us.
That's great
in each one. So he's been a fantastic champion of the mag, and so we're so lucky with that. And also, I think everyone there at the BBC and in Bad Wolf, they've loved it too, and they've been so helpful, and they're so thrilled to take part in it.
That's so good.
You know, so when you go around the studios, you'll suddenly see bits of the mag, you know, stuck up on the wall. Oh, they like that. Okay.
Do you know, there's probably not many shows that have a dedicated magazine anymore. You know, many years ago I used to buy the Buffy magazine, or Alias, and Smallville used to have something, and all of those things.
They always used to, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid, I remember so many, like Alias, Smith and Jones.
Oh my goodness.
You know, all of those sort of things. Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch annual. There's also an annual to go with them, wasn't there, as well?
Yeah. All of these things. And Doctor Who magazine has kind of lasted all of them. You know, I mean, even sort of Star Trek or any of that, you know, it's just that, and it has got a very, very loyal readership as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Trying to think how many years I've been subscribing to it since I was in my late teens, I think. So I don't even want to think about how many years that is, but it's it's a few decades.
Probably issue one, wasn't it, Paul?
Since the 80s. Oh, you behave yourself.
It is crazy, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's kept up, but that there is just something about the show. And you know, when I said earlier, there'll be episodes or there'll be bits you're not so mad about, and when I have gone through periods of not particularly enjoying the show that much, you know what, I felt a bit like I'm cheating on someone. I felt a bit like I felt guilty to even admit it to myself, or I didn't like that.
Yeah,
it's like when you get an album from a band, isn't it, that you like, and then you listen to it.
Did you feel
like,
you're
that's not quite worked for me.
You don't want to admit that you didn't like it, but you didn't.
But it does happen, you know.
And you do feel like, oh God. And I mean, there have been times, you know, it's gone through certain periods where I'll try and watch it as it comes out, you know, and you'll want to watch it. I mean, you don't have to watch it live as such.
You can choose your moment, can't you? But
but it's always nice to, you sort of think to. But I have found at times when I've gone through periods of not being so into it, and then I've left it weeks.
Really? Yeah, that's when you can tell you know you're not as fussed.
That's it. And then I've finally felt, no, I've got to, and I really, and it's been almost a duty.
Yeah.
Duty. It's my duty to watch.
I can't think of any other show where you felt that about it, where even when you don't like it, you felt family pressure.
Well, also, I wonder if the variety in the show is part of all that, because so like I really like The Walking Dead, but I know what I'm going to get with that pretty much every episode. Whereas, like we were saying earlier with Doctor Who, you know, one week will be a Western, and the next is on a spaceship, then it's period, and you know, blah blah blah. And you know, if you don't have, you know, if you're not a big fan of, say, a Western or something, or you know, something with a little bit more of a fantasy element to it, you know, that episode won't click with you as much. But you know,
that's it.
The week after, it's going to be different again, and that's also the beauty of it as well. Like we were saying,
it is the beauty of it. I mean, in a way, sort of there again with British TV and things. So we have short seasons, so you know, it might be 8 episodes or 10 if we're lucky, or 6. Or that you can't afford to have a duff one, can you?
No.
Really?
No.
Because
yeah,
if you've missed one, then count. Almost a quarter of your series is gone down the hit. You know, they all need to be strong.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't afford not to now, but I think with what we've got coming up as well, with, you know, it's going to be so exciting.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer, obviously, but I feel this is my duty to ask you nonetheless, Jason. Have you seen any of the new episodes that are coming out for the next series?
I haven't.
Sneaky. Oh, okay.
I haven't seen anything. No, I haven't. I have seen parts of scripts.
Okay.
Generally heavily redacted.
to the point where they don't make any sense.
TARDIS interior, and then
I mean, to be honest, I didn't know. I mean, like if we go back and look at the specials, I'd seen the scripts before, but they were redacted. So while I kind of put 2 and 2 together and thought, okay, Ncuti and David are both going to appear, or at least Ncuti is going to appear quite early in this episode instead of like the final minute of the giggle. I sort of knew I couldn't see any of his dialogue, but it was the fact that a quarter of the script was gone, apart from scenes without the Doctor in it. So I had no idea that there'd be the two of them together,
right?
And that there'd be, but I was thinking, oh, David's going to go early on in this, and it's going to be half an episode or a quarter, a quarter of it is going to be shooting rather than just 2 minutes or anything. So, a lot of it is guesswork then when you look at the scripts for any of the controversial bits, because they're going to cut those out. And but they do give you a fair, because obviously we have to plan comments, we have to
queue it up,
things like that, so we need to see the Doctor's voice and the Doctor, how he acts and how he so we do need a certain, we do get to see stuff, but we haven't actually seen any footage.
So it's sort of like one part of it is kind of professional for you, isn't it? You're getting to see stuff or read stuff because you need to for the magazine and write synopsises and stuff like that. But then you also still get to do the fan part of yourself, and watching. So you're sort of getting, the best of both. The exciting.
Basically, you're having the cake, lad, and there's eating it and all into it.
I know. I mean, I've never seen any point in just looking at a cake.
Quite right.
Really,
there's a cake. I'm going to eat it.
But it's actually so amazing to actually, when the scripts do become available, and when I sit and I binge read them. I do binge read them, and then I'm like, oh my god, oh no.
Did she? No, they don't. Oh my god,
I can't wait to see that bit.
And it's like, and there's so many that you're like, oh god, I can't wait to see this. How are they going to do that? That is, and there are so many. In fact, I think when I was reading scripts for this upcoming season, I was, with each one, like I read the first one, I was like, oh my god, that I was wondering how they're going to top the specials.
Right.
Wow, they've done it. That is insane. That's so fun. And then I read the second, and I was like, holy shit, no. Oh god, wow.
Oh my goodness.
And then on, and then I think it's about halfway through. This is just from reading the script. I think it's possibly gonna be my favorite Doctor Who story ever.
Really?
Ever? Wow.
That's ever.
Big claim.
That is a massive claim. But and this is just from reading it, everything. It's creepy as anything. It's like so scary, so atmospheric, also funny and mental, and it's just wow. And it kind of resonates, and it's one of those with things that go back to childhood, sort of.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine
Yeah.
And images that you would have had as a kid, and sort of think there, and it's like it's one in particular that I just think, wow, that's going to be my favorite ever.
We like the creepy ones, don't we, Jeff?
Yeah, I do. I'm quite a big fan of a scary Who, so it's right up my street.
I love a good scary one.
There's more scaries on audio than there is on TV, actually, I think.
You think?
Yeah. So a sort of an out-and-out scary thing on the show would be really good.
Yes. Yeah, well, this one is it's such a great atmosphere, such a great and I can't tell you anything about apart from that you've got the scariest episode of Doctor Who ever coming up.
Well, that's something to look forward to, isn't it? Can we call that Who Corner to Corner exclusive? I think we can. We'll milk it. We will milk that one, definitely.
So, Jason, can you tell us anything else about what there will be to come from DWM over the next year or so?
Oh God!
What are your plans?
Yeah, well, we do. I mean, obviously the big plan now, because our next one we're hitting 600.
Of course, yeah.
What did you say in the magazine?
we've got big plans for
Yeah.
100 coming up.
Secret anniversary souvenirs.
Secret anniversary
Yes.
souvenirs.
That got me excited.
Yeah, I mean,
And
they were basically they were secret because we didn't have them at the point.
You weren't quite sure what they were.
Well, I was sure what they were or what I wanted them to be, but we didn't have, because we had to go to print early with that because of the whole Christmas, you know, the whole Christmas deadlines. And
yeah.
We lost a week on our schedule, and then we were like, oh no. In fact, we don't have any visuals for our big 600 mystery thing. We won't have any visuals for it until the day after tomorrow, when we're going up there for a photo shoot. So we're off up to Wales tomorrow. Yes, so we've got our big mystery stuff is all being filmed, photographed on Tuesday. Yeah.
I love that.
It should be fun.
Yeah,
it should be fun.
I love that. You know, the magazine's got, you know, gifts with it. You know, at the moment, like the Star Beast reprint, and you know, and the posters and things. And, you know, all the posters. You know, I always look at them and I think, oh, they're so good. But I wish they came unfolded. You know, so they were perfectly smooth. You know.
Well, that's what.
Don't you iron them, Jeff? What's the matter with you?
Well,
I know what you mean, and actually, I have been thinking of that with sort of for the future. Maybe not. I mean, also we've all got limited wall space.
Yeah.
We
that's
do.
It. That's my poster area right there. Yeah. And that's a DWM poster from about 6 years ago, I think, with all the target covers on it.
So I think maybe if we go the smaller ones that you could frame, the A5,
card ones,
and rather than great big massive billboards, might be a bit more useful.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Because you're right, it's limited wall space. I mean, I can't have anything at home, but at my office, you know, I've got 4 walls that are mine to, you know, do what I want with. But when you get a great poster, you know, it's nice to have it perfectly smooth, you know.
Yeah, well, I really liked with the recent one, because I loved our Star Beast cover that we had. I think when we were messing with that, I thought, oh God, that would make. So I've got that up on the wall as well. I think that would be such a great. That's just such a great bit of art.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Let's you know. So I do think having smaller ones rather than the great big could be our way forward.
Okay.
I think because there's so much great imagery with Doctor Who.
Yeah, do you know, the photos alone, you know, like the new cover. It's such
beautiful,
shot,
it's gorgeous. Look at that.
Who did that one? Was that James Pardon doing that?
Yeah. It's such a lovely image, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's such a great one. And I mean, actually, shooting them, I mean, they look so fab.
You just literally just point a camera at them and they look great.
I know that they do. And
no, you're right. I'm definitely looking forward to more shooting. I mean, you know, that the church on Ruby Road was just fantastic. I mean, actually, at the end of the giggle, you know, I thought, oh my goodness, it was such a joy. Do you know what I mean? It
was.
I don't know why, but I do find myself getting a little bit worried sometimes, you know, when there's a new Doctor announced, and particularly it's not somebody you know, because I haven't seen Sex Education. I had no idea of anything that Ncuti was in until his name was announced, and I kind of went back and watched a few things, and I'm like, yeah, well, he's good. He's got something there, but you know, how will that make him? How will he do Doctor Who? You just don't. Well, and he's just from the off. As soon as he started speaking, that was it. As soon as it smiled, and you know what I mean, it was just
that smile.
Yeah.
Also, it was like before, because I mean, even I was thinking before. I said, "Oh my God, talk about big shoes to fill." They've bought Dave, like the most popular, whether he's your favorite or not, or definitely the most popular Doctor of the modern era. And then he's supposed to step into those shoes, and that makes it really, really difficult.
Well, he stepped into those pants, really, didn't he?
Well, he did. Yeah,
he really
wore
did
the underwear,
step into
didn't
those pants, and did it so well.
That was quite fun as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's that sort of thing that undercuts all the, all the fan seriousness and all the kind of the chats that go on online. Oh, I did like the biogen, I didn't like the biogen. It's messing with the canon. It's messing with this, and all that sort of thing. At the end of the day, right? Ncuti is wearing the pants.
I know.
David Tennant is in the buff. Basically, it just undercuts that kind of, and it reminds you that this is a show that can have a laugh with itself. You know what I mean? And
it really does.
You can't take so much stuff in Doctor Who seriously. I really believe that, and I know there's a lot of people out there who look for continuity, and because maybe that's the way we're conditioned to think about things these days. But with a 60-year-old show, the continuity is, well, there isn't any really. It's all over the place.
There was no,
so don't go looking for it. Just enjoy it. Exactly.
There was no show Bible, particularly, like some shows have. So I think, like I said earlier, you've got to kind of push it and bend it a little bit to keep it moving, keep it fresh.
Of course you do. And I mean, I spoke with Dan Slott fairly recently.
Yeah.
He'd done.
He did the Once Upon a Time Lord, didn't he? Which was so good. We were going to chat with him actually. Then he had to go to New York Comic Con. So rude.
Yeah, that's a bit rude, wasn't it? Damn.
And now he's too busy.
Oh no.
We'll get him on at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, you were
obviously because he's done Spidey. And Silver Surfer and all of those things, and and continuity with Marvel, of course, as well. These are long-running characters, all of these. But like he said, you should never let it get in the way of a good story. And you just can't.
No, that's absolutely right. I was looking on it, the fact that if it ties into an earlier episode or something from 30-40 years ago and it fits perfectly, that's that's nice, but it's like a bonus. It shouldn't be the expectation. I don't think.
I mean, what was beautiful, I think, when the show came back in 2005 or that, was you didn't need to have watched it before.
No, that's right. Yeah,
obviously
no baggage.
There was no baggage. There was no pompous Time Lords. There was no. I was never a massive fan of them.
Right.
And all of that sort of the pomp and so that it was never one of my favorite elements of the show.
Yeah.
It was great that they were gone.
It's Time Lords anyway.
And it's great that they come back and then they
that's
got
the thing, isn't it? It's great that they go. It's great when they come back. And you're right, because I remember watching Rose thinking, this is they've got everything right here that they kind of got wrong with the TV movie, which obviously went the other way. It tried to fill in the audience very, very quickly. The whole Time Lord history and the Master and the Doctor and the Daleks, and it's just like 13 lives and regeneration. It's like what is this? But Rose was completely the opposite, and yet when it got to Human Nature, and there was that Journal of Impossible Things. It was beautiful to see the faces of Sylvester McCoy and Paul McGann and all those things. It's like, they are acknowledging the history now. It was brilliant. But for that to mean something, it almost has to be taken away from you first. It's like you were saying, Jeff, about the light and the dark shades, the peaks and the troughs. If it's always thrown at you constantly, then it's a different kind of flavor, isn't it? I think so. Pull it away, push it back in, and
and the thing is, people will, once they sort of take up the show, like I think we're going to get a whole load of new audience now.
I think so.
Because and so it's sort of new generations.
Do you know a little story? On the day that Ncuti was announced, I was out with my family and we were doing shoe shopping and stuff, and I looked on my phone. Oh, he's the new Doctor. Oh, that's cool. I don't know who he is, but I'm sure he'll be great. And that's quite exciting to not have any kind of
it is.
of him.
Yeah.
But a bit later in the day, we went down to the beach and we were buying an ice cream at the little hut thing there. And this is absolutely true. This girl's turned, the couple of girls in there, one of them said, "Oh, I just heard that Ncuti Gat was going to be Doctor Who." And her friend turned to her and went, "Oh, he's brilliant. I'll have to start watching it." And I thought,
there you go.
That's what he's doing. He's bringing in the next generation.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It is. And then they're going to start. And then because I watched the Christmas special with my 2 young nephews. Christmas, and it was the first time they'd ever watched Doctor Who.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they loved it.
Yeah.
They want, and now they've got 60 years of material.
And it's accessible in a way that it never used to be. Yeah.
Oh my god, everything on iPlayer. I mean, wow.
You know
I mean? They've got so much to go back over, and you can sort of make look, because I mean, what a feast. You think, okay, look, why not start with this, and then but
that's it. Yeah, and it's nice now. You know, I mean, I look on Twitter and I see a load of fans who've been with the shows in recent years. So they're up on the modern show, but it's like, well, where do I jump in? You know, where do I watch it from the beginning? Do I have to go right back to the very first? No, just literally
almost pick anything,
pick a story and go for it. I think that's the only way you can do it. But I love the idea of that you got kids who are thinking, I don't know what to do. So it gives us something as oldies something to do. So, well, now, young fellow, what you need to do is this. You see,
it comes the gatekeep.
Exactly. I mean, I loved it with the Surprise Daleks as well. Then with the William Hartnell story.
Oh yeah.
And there'll be some people didn't like the edit or the sort of that, but I actually watched it there. I didn't find it confusing. I thought, okay, this is pretty pacey. Definitely
it was pacey.
Pacier than it was. It actually looks really cool.
It did look beautiful. The colorization I thought was absolutely gorgeous. And you know, I think anything which is going to bring in new fans, if it's going to make something, I mean, to be honest, I'm of the I'm of the old guard, I guess, because I think you can't. If you take something away from the Daleks, you're taking something away from it. You're not adding anything back in. So the more you remove, it's like the less of a thing that it is. But, you know, saying that, if it's going to help people come to the show and enjoy those old episodes, then I'm all for it. You know, it's great. As long as we still got the original one, so that old kids like me.
The original's still there. The original's still there.
And if we don't bring in that new audience,
they'll get rid of those old things.
There won't be a show. The show won't carry on if it's not got new people. You know,
and those old, the old stories are great, and they've got so many such great imagery and such great moments. And
we were just talking earlier, weren't we? We wanted to watch a classic episode and do a kind of review for our subscribers.
Oh yes, indeed. Yes.
Which one do we watch? And we were a bit back and forth about that, weren't we? So
what did you decide on?
Well, it's either the moon base or the invasion at the moment. So.
Oh yeah,
Cybermen. Yeah, I mean, I love the invasion. It is probably my favorite. Is it my favorite Trout story? I don't know. There's so many. That's the problem, isn't it? Every time I say that's my favorite, I think, but there's this, and then there's that, and then there's that. It's like, But it's like you're saying, it's.
Which one would you go for, Jason? Sorry.
I think maybe Tomb of the Cybermen. I think.
Would you?
Yeah.
That's a good one as well, actually, because it's got a good story behind it.
It's got a really good story, and it doesn't drag.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it does. Yeah,
it doesn't drag. It's actually tight. Remarkably pacey, but for one of those stories there. So I think that as an old one, I'd go for that. Yeah,
we could do that one. Now it's easy to watch.
It is easy to watch. You don't want. I
was just going to ask, how old are your 2 nephews?
They were 7 and 9.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Because
good age, isn't it?
It's funny. My
kids... the demons. If we're going to go John Pertwee, I'd go for
Oh,
yeah, I do love the demons. Yeah, I was going to suggest that, but then we got onto Trown, didn't we?
We could do that. I don't mind. I'm up for it.
I mean,
I don't even need an excuse to watch any Doctor Who. Just tell me what you want.
I would love to watch
Demons is a good one.
again.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. We should do the demons.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say my kids know Jodie as the Doctor. And a while ago now, but we were looking on the shelf where all the DVDs are, and one of the twins pulled one off, and she said, "Is this Doctor Who?" And it was David on the front. And I said, "Yeah." And she went, "Doctor Who's a woman?" And I said,
"Right,
it can also be a man as well." What?
Yeah.
And you could tell she was really confused.
Trying to get in there.
And then when we watched Star Beast, and I said, "This is Doctor Who," you could tell they were like, it's a boy now, and so I tried to explain it a little bit, and the girls were a bit puzzled by it, I think, which is quite funny, really.
Oh wow! Did they not see her regenerate into him?
No, they haven't watched it. My son's probably he's got the attention span for it. I think the girls are just they're nearly 6, so they probably could do it, but they've not quite disappointingly sort of want to watch it until we watch the Star Beast, and all 3 of them said the next week, "Can we watch Doctor Who?" And that's when I said, "I think it's a little bit a bit scary for you with Wild Blue Yonder." But we did start watching a Jodie episode, Resolution, and they quite like that, actually. My son was disgusted but also interested. When you see the Dalek out of its its case.
Oh yeah.
What's that? That's horrible. So which is also part of the fun.
It is. Yeah, the disgusting squeamishness. Which again,
it's cool.
Going back to the Daleks, colorized or black and white version. That moment, those moments in Doctor Who when something so grotesque and memorable happens, like the inside of a Dalek, and all we see is that claw, isn't it, coming through?
Yes,
it's those, and the Resolution when we have the tentacles coming over her.
Such a
taking her over and stuff. What other show does that? Has done it for 60 years or so.
I know.
We can talk about it at any age and feel so excited by it.
And also, I mean, there aren't that many where you think it's a family show, and it really is a family show in that it'll drag in everyone from grandparents to grandchildren.
And that's across the generations.
And that's another challenge that the makers have, is that it's got to appeal to my kids if it can, and people like us who've been watching it all these years, and new people, and God, sometimes I think about it, I think what a job.
And magazine editors as well.
I know,
like you're saying about the magazine, looking at the future and what's current, but not disregarding all the past stuff as well. And because of course, I suppose because you've got the special issues as well, haven't you? Which can focus on one particular thing or a theme or an era or show. Presumably those are going to continue.
They're carrying on. In fact, Marcus Hearn deals with the specials mainly. So yes, the specials are carrying on. We've got some great ones lined up. So got all of that, plus of course the coverage of the current era as it happens. And
tell us sorry, go ahead.
Go.
I was to say, tell us what an average day is like.
Day in the life.
Is there such a thing?
If there is
such
average?
It is funny, really, that because I have to check and sort of say, who have I got meetings with? You sort of tend to have quite a few there. So you'll have your liaison there with the BBC, and they'll be, so where are we? And you'll run down where you are with each issue and what you need from them as well. And look, can you possibly get us in to talk to, say, the set designer? Or can we talk with we can do that, we'll manage that. Or can we get on for a set report? We need to be able to come and visit the set for this, and they'll set up dates for that. So a lot of it is liaising and trying to out our future dates. Then it's getting in touch with our design. Okay, how are we doing on this? Yeah, can you share the InDesigns for these layouts? I need to see them before I send it to the BBC so they can approve the copy. And so a lot of it is fixing up meetings for future events and then getting in touch with our different writers. So then you'll generally have quite a few pitches come in as well from people, and you like to try and stay on top of it because you get a lot. But then it gets to that sort of period of the month where you're like, oh God, I haven't got and again, Doctor Who writers and fans, if they can use 100 words rather than 10, they'll use them. So it's not going to be quick.
Yeah.
I haven't really got time for this because we've got to get this off to print by like, Wednesday. I'll get back to it later. By the time you do get back to it, there's another 20 things in there. And then sometimes, and I will admit, sometimes I will have meant, and I'll have briefly skim read someone's pitch for something. I thought, oh, that's a really good idea, but I'll give it the full thing that it deserves in a bit. And then I forget.
Yeah.
I mean, got so many other things going on.
I'll admit, I can, and I feel like such a prick at times that I think someone's put so much energy into this, and it's a really good idea, and I really like it, but I've put it off because I want to be able to give some good feedback instead of go ahead, or not for us right now, or for, and then I've ended up just doing nothing. And feel really guilty over it and really bad. I think, oh God,
but the primary stuff, he's doing, isn't it? And things sort of pile up a little bit.
Anyway, I'll assure everyone, it's not through meanness of spirit. It's more generally being a forgetful idiot. And sorry, you just went right out of my head. And I forgot. And then sometimes someone will remind me, and they'll, I'll get an email, a gentle reminder, and okay. I mean, the worst one is, like you said, is work experience things. And pre-COVID and lockdown, we did used to work in the offices at Panini, and now it works a lot better doing it from home. Right. And we'll meet up once a month, and or more often occasionally, but generally it is because I have a load of meetings, and it's easier for me to do it from home rather than in a crowded office where I'm having to shout over other people. And so but when it comes to work experience, and you get people, writing in sort of there, because obviously we did do that before, and it was, it's, Emily Cook started out experience with us, and but now, and I think there was an interview with her recently, and mentioned that, and so suddenly I got a score of like emails from people work experience, and times have changed. It's not really going to be that appropriate having you in my back bedroom. It's not.
and also, like, I find that these emails come in, they say, we've got a week of work experience in June, can you take us? And I think, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in June. That's 6 months away. And I don't want to say yes to you and then spend the week saying I don't take sugar in my coffee, because I haven't got any filming on or anything. So then I'd feel bad that, I can't show them anything exciting. And then probably, much like many people, I've got work to get on with, and I haven't got the time to sort of derail that and say, let's show you how to edit or whatever it might be.
I know.
And then if you've said yes, you'll take someone for work gigs, then you get the call to go to Cardiff that week, where you can't take them down because it's, you know,
confidential
secret.
stuff.
Yeah, it's confidential. You know, so it's quite difficult. And also, you know, in my past experience, you know, I'd had work experience people, and I thought, I'm not doing this again. You know, they're not great.
So it's painful.
And then I didn't do it for years. And then the local college where I am, they asked me if I'd take someone, and I thought, yeah, all right, I'll give it a go. And the girl came along, and she was absolutely brilliant. You know, talkative, and, you know, put in ideas, and, you know, just enthusiastic. And then we had another lad come along because she was so good, and he was exactly the same. And I thought, actually, it's kind of, you know, restored my faith in work experience.
There you go.
There, you know? So it was great. So I've completely, you know, diverged there, but
no, and it's great when that happens. I mean, we'll do it sort of there with. I'll be, look, we don't really have, you know, but if you've got an idea, do pitch it, and I will get back to you eventually. And yeah, if it's any good, you know, I don't know if I. So it's hard. I mean, actually, no, I generally would, even if I didn't particularly like an idea. I mean, yeah.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you came back to me pretty quickly when, you know, we sort of asked you if you'd do something on podcasts and pop on the show, wasn't it? So you pretty quick then.
You were. I mean, it must have been a quiet day.
Yeah, slow news day. It was before everything had kicked off. Yeah,
I was sitting here twiddling my thumbs.
I remember reading the editorial thinking, "Oh, he's new, right? Let's jump on this one before he has time to get his feet under the desk."
Yeah, you text me and you said Jason came back and he's interested. I said, "Oh, amazing!
Like,
you know, we didn't expect that, so it was brilliant." Yeah. So, when you went to the premieres for the recent episodes, what was that like being there with all the stars?
It was
rubbing shoulders and everything.
Oh, it was great. It was so good. Yeah, it was fun. So there were two that we went to. There was the one for Star Beast, which was great, and there were lots of old classic doctors, and in fact, Colin Baker was sat directly behind me.
Oh, was he?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Was he throwing popcorn at your head or something like that then?
Well, actually, Katie Manning stole his popcorn.
Oh, did she?
And mine. And, yeah, in fact, I mean, I don't know how she's not as big as her house, because I think she ate my popcorn. She ate Nicholas Briggs's popcorn. She
just made her way through the audience.
Popcorn monster.
She certainly gets through them. Anyway, that was great. It was fantastic seeing all of that. And then for the church on Ruby Road was amazing, because it was Ncuti and Millie were there.
Yeah.
And they were sat in the aisle just across from me. So I was one side of the aisle, and then they were the next. The awful, like we were saying, you can't take your eyes off him. I think that was it becomes then a bit creepy when you're watching on screen. Yeah. Yeah, like, and look at those shoes. Whoa,
good shoes.
He had some great shoes. Yeah. He had
they turned on the London Eye before the
screen, they did,
yeah.
Yeah.
He looked quite sharp, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Although, Jason, I have to say, looking at some of your publicity stuff and some of your stuff online, you're not such a bad sartorial gent yourself.
Oh, well.
I saw your little
I know, and here I am in this old thing. I should have dressed up, but
it's all right. I didn't dress up. I was going to put my gold jacket on, but I do want to shine.
He does actually have a gold jacket, which he used when we spoke to Sophie Aldred, and he did a mini quiz show intro.
Really?
Yeah. Only came out to play once.
It was a good laugh. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah. Can't beat a gold jacket.
No, absolutely. Stops people in their tracks. That's what I say. Yeah.
Yes.
So we've got a couple of questions from some of our online followers. So let's throw some of those in and see what you think. So we got one here from Sean the Mondasian Psychic at Who Pottervian, who's emailed us a few times with various things. So they ask, Jason, your bosses at Panini approach you about adapting a Doctor Who Adventures comic strip into a Doctor Who magazine comic strip, starring the upcoming 15th Doctor and Ruby. Which comic do you choose and why? So something from the Doctor Who Adventures comic strip.
Was that the fortnightly
into one? Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
What, yeah. God.
You worked on that for a little while, didn't you?
I did when Panini got it, yeah. So yeah, Panini did I was there at its demise.
Right at the end.
It went from being the best-selling comic ever to dying a death.
Yeah.
Once I touched it. But actually I love doing that. I love Doctor Who Adventure.
Yeah.
Sometimes people make mock-up covers in the
they
same
do.
style,
Yeah,
don't they? For
a
few
of those
and stuff. Yeah. And there was a one-off recently, well, a while ago for Jodie, wasn't there? I think that came out.
There was, there was, there was a Doctor Adventure special with Jodie.
Do you think that's something that might come back? Now the show's.
I'd hope so
for the younger audience.
I'd love it if it did, because I really liked, enjoyed working on that. It was a lot of fun to do. So what strip would? Oh God.
Yeah, it's kind of put you on the spot there, because now you have to think of all these different strips that you had.
I know, yeah. There were so many good ones, but I mean, there were actually there were actually a few in the bag when the magazine
when it was pulled
was cancelled.
It
was finally cancelled. There were a few that we hadn't that we got. I think we might have even had a couple of them drawn up, but we definitely had the scripts there, including one by Andrew Cartmel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he did a few for us there.
Yeah.
Really good ones, including the Doctor. Yeah, he had a talking horse as his companion for a while.
Well, he's had a penguin, so why not?
Yeah. So yeah, I think I would relook at some of those, but then again, I don't know, with Ncuti now as well, it'd be such a joy to kind of write for as well, and to
from fresh, you mean, from scratch?
From right from scratch, to do something totally new with him rather than revamping any of the old stuff. But then again, if we're talking budgets, like the question there, and Panini say you've got to use some of the old stuff.
Yeah, maybe for expediency in some way.
Oh God, could you imagine? It'd be like one of those awful TV comic ones there, where it's actually just nothing like.
That's what we need. We need
it's
that back.
Nothing. I think we do. We need a story written for Ncuti that's nothing like his character. It's just...
and probably it doesn't even look that much like him either, because you're not allowed to use his likeness yet.
And it will be Ncuti hanging out with a couple of kids. His children.
But saying that, actually, was it this one, or was it the one before? Yes, this one with this kind of style comic strip.
Oh yes,
I loved that.
Wasn't that great?
A lot of fun.
I like it was split throughout the magazine as well.
It's different each one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was because it was so like the old countdowns.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's brilliant. Love the comic strip in Doctor Who magazine. It's definitely a highlight. Here I am, in my 50-something years old, and I still love the comic strip in Doctor Who Monthly.
Me too. I love the comic strip is a complete joy every time.
Definitely, yeah.
There's the collection of the other 13th Doctor stories is coming out soon, isn't it? Yeah, looking forward to that. It's been a while since there's been a collection of stuff, so I was pleased to see that was coming.
Yeah. Yeah,
there
no,
is that.
that is coming out. Yes.
And Liberation of the Daleks is out now.
Oh yeah,
it?
that's out. The complete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it somewhere knocking around.
In your TARDIS wardrobe there, Jason.
It is somewhere. Oh God, where's it gone? Ah, here it is. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's a lovely.
For those
cover.
of you listening to audio only, Jason pulls out the complete edition of Liberation of the Daleks by Alan Barnes, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yay.
It was it was really cool having that, the 14th Doctor's first adventure in the magazine.
It was a bit of a coup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was such a coup there. Yeah. I mean, talk about wow. And again, that was Russell wanted his first story to be in the magazine. Again, wow.
Although saying that, I do remember, Jeff, you were quite emotional because I remember you texted me in the issue when they blew up the 13th Doctor's sonic screwdriver. It's gone. It's gone. Because bless him, Jeff is going through a grief process right now, and we are here to help him through this. And there are many other fans who feel that way, because it's like we said right at the start of this, isn't it? You do feel that emotion when a Doctor changes. It is almost like a sort of weird grief thing. There's excitement of the new, but there's also the sadness for the loss of the old.
Yes, and it is, and also then there is each time there's that worry that you may not like the new one.
Yeah, I think there is that worry, even though kind of in the back of your head you know
it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, because the show has never kind of failed on the casting front and stuff. But and every time a Doctor regenerates, it's sad. But then, with the new one, it's exciting, and the future is here and all that. But still missing Jodie's Doctor, and got the future is very close now. But still kind of like, wish we'd had a bit longer.
Yeah,
But I'm sure I'm not alone feeling that. And
no, I'm sure. Of course, you're not. No, she'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, they all return at some point.
They all returned, I felt the same after Peter Davison, the fifth Doctor left. I thought, he was just getting good. We need more Peter Davison. But but after Colin's first series, I was like, Peter who? And then of course he came back, so
yes.
It happens. It's part of why we watch Doctor Who, isn't it? So without further ado, shall we play our little game for the next 10 minutes just to wrap this thing up with? Should we do this? You got time? You good for this, Jason?
Yes, I am. I'm good.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Right. Okay. Now, our little game. It is called the Grand Serpents Asteroid. Theme music will play as I say this, so we'll do music for that. So I don't know. Let me explain the rules of the show to you. The rules of the game to you, Jason. So I don't know if you recall how familiar you are with the Doctor Who series, Doctor Who Flux series 13, where at the end of the Grand Serpents shenanigans, as punishment for his unjust crimes against the universe and allying himself with Sontarans to do general ne'er-do-well stuff, he was imprisoned upon an asteroid floating lonely in the depths of space, which had only one door to the rest of the universe, which rather tragically the Doctor slammed in his face and said, "You're not coming back," and that's the end of it. So so basically what we're trying to do is recreate that by throwing you on a virtual version of said asteroid. However, we are not as cruel as the Doctor. No, sir. No, our morals are much more black and white than that. We will give you some stuff that you can take with you, and then we'll shut the door on you to float empty and lost along there.
Okay.
I'll provide you a power source as well for.
He will do that. You can have these things.
Paul said no, they can't have that. I said we must.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what sort of mood I'm in tonight then, Jeff, won't we? Right. Okay, so here we go. So the first one is, you are allowed to take with you your favorite all-time film of all time. You can take that one. So what's it going to be?
Oh, favorite all-time film.
Now, that's not your top 3, nor your top 5, nor one of your top 3 or one of your top 5, unless it is your top 1. It has to be whatever film you think you can watch whilst pondering the empty, lonely cosmos of infinite space.
I will allow some rule bending, such as we let
time.
Chris Chibnall have all 3 Back to the Future films, because you could class them as one long story.
That's
changes things now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I don't know why I do this.
You could get the Godfather trilogy in there.
You could,
but
you could do that.
I don't know if I'd really want.
Yeah, that's quite. Maybe you want something fun when you're stuck on a little.
I mean, I like a gangster movie.
Yeah.
I do like, but maybe one a bit more. Actually, you know what? Oh, hang on. It could be.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. So okay, yeah, it's got it's I was gonna say Angels with Dirty Faces, which is an old James Cagney movie. Not the Sham 69 video of their song. Angels with Dirty Faces is a great movie where he's the gangster with a heart. He befriends these kids, and his best mate's a priest.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And in the end, he's sent to the chair, but his priest friend persuades him to go chicken to the chair so that the kids won't look up to him as a hero. They'll think he's Yeller. And James Cagney is always fantastic to watch. So it would either be that or him in Yankee Doodle Dandy, because he does some great tap dancing in it, and I love tap dancing. And
did you not do some tap dancing in the street during COVID? Did I see that, or was that a fever dream?
No, that's true.
It was true, wasn't it?
Tap dancing in the street. Yeah, during lockdown, I did a couple of street dancing moments.
Sorry, I just had to. You just it made me think of that as you were saying. So we're putting the James Cagney film in there, are we?
We're putting the James Cagney film.
Okay, go on then, James. Is that the one where it says "You dirty rat," or is that a different film?
No, that's,
I don't think he actually does say it in that. I think that might be White Heat.
Yeah, it's Casablanca. Everyone thinks that's from, isn't it? But
no. We all know it's not Casablanca. Yeah, it's played again. Somebody does actually say
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy. Oh, that could be it. Yeah, maybe that's it.
But Angels with Dirty Face, it's such a good one. Or Yankee Doodle Dandy, because it's got that song in it.
One of those.
I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Would you really want to have that when you're lost on an asteroid for all eternity? Can you imagine that playing?
I know. Could you imagine? Well, at least I know the words.
Well,
so you can sort of sing along to it. They're off. They're off.
Here and coming
Come
in
on,
orbit,
Yankee Doodle. They have bet the whole caboodle on you. Hurry up. Yankee takes the lead.
And there is an extended version of that, dear listeners, on an uncut version of this episode. Right. Okay. So one of the James Cagney films, it could be a kind of a quantum thing. It's both those films until you open the tin to put it in, and then one of them is locked in place, but we don't know which one it could be either. So while the tin is locked, it's both. You've got both. So, there's the thing, isn't it? Because then, do you actually play it or do you not play it? Do you leave it in quantum subposition or do you not? I don't know. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. So, you are also allowed to take with you a complete series of comics. So, what might that be? So, this could be a massive, string tied bundle as long as it's one continuous series.
And so it could be, 4-issue miniseries or something. Or
it could just be 4 issues.
The entire Amazing Spider-Man run from issue 1 to 600.
Yeah.
So it's one long series.
See,
we've been good to you here, I think, Jason, to be honest. We're giving you some stuff here. We might not give you a lamp to read it. You might wait until your asteroid orbits a nearby star or something, but nonetheless, it's, when that happens, you have something to read.
I think it's got to be the Tintin collection.
Oh, brilliant!
Yes. It's got to be there's so many great characters. Throughout and again, there's always something ridiculous to look at, and some, like some of my favorites in Tintin. some of those minor characters like Jolyon Wag,
Oh my
or
goodness.
the salesman, or so or Bianca Castafiore, the opera singer. And it's the little minor characters that are so good. It's those tiny little details.
I used to read Tintin loads when I was younger, and we showed it to my son not that long ago in Waterstones, and because he quite likes like Dogman and stuff, which is graphic novel, books, and we said, "Oh, I think you'd enjoy this." And I must pick him up some. I think he'd really like it. The artwork on it is so lovely, but they're just that kind of classic adventure type stuff. They're just great. Yeah,
they are, and they build as you get, and you recognize all the different characters throughout as it goes along. So if you get the complete set, it's perfect. So
No, that would keep you going, wouldn't it? I used to read Asterix the Gaul. I had more than Tintin, I think, but I sort of quite like those. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, Asterix is great. I just think Tintin just slightly got the edge.
Interesting. Right, so James Cagney's in, Tintin is in, so you are also allowed to take with you a sci-fi film. It could be one sci-fi film, or it could be a trilogy, or whatever, ology, or whatever it is. You can take some skiffy with you. What would it be?
Ooh, okay, right, yes. Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
What it's
no.
Because again, I never tire of watching it and just looking at amazing sort of scenes that stay with you for Metropolis.
Fritz Lang, yes. Yeah. Wow, yes. Oh, now there's a few versions of this though, isn't there? Because it's been restored and re-edited, and somebody's done other remix versions, and then it's been restored to its original state with different music. And I think there's one with Queen, with the soundtrack by Queen, I think, isn't there? From the 90s.
I haven't seen it with Queen soundtrack. I did amazing cinema in Berlin. And it's actually called it's called Babylon. And they did. I don't know if you've ever seen Babylon Berlin, the TV series.
I haven't.
They do a lot of filming in this cinema, and it's an old 1920s cinema.
Oh yeah, with the Art Deco style and everything.
Yeah, and they do. So it's a Weimar Republic cinema, but they're famous. They show a lot of German silent movies, but with a live orchestra.
That's perfect, isn't it? Yeah.
Such a beautiful cinema, and with the live music there, it's incredible. So Metropolis, it's got to be.
So if we can take Metropolis shown to you in that cinema with the live orchestra, that would do it. We'll do that.
If we can bring the live orchestra there, fantastic.
Didn't we let Chris have something like that? There was
we did. We said you can have it in some kind of technological futuristic crystal that allows you to plug yourself in and experience the whole thing as if it were real around you. So we can do that.
Brilliant.
We'll have that one. That'd be pretty cool. I do like Metropolis, actually. I think it's one of those films that it just, you can see when you watch it how much it's influenced so much stuff afterwards in terms of the visuals and the story itself. It's almost like an eternal story.
It is
that
and again it's nightmarish and kind of beautiful at the same time.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that for a long time, but
I watched it for ages myself, to be honest. But now I'm getting quite excited about it now.
So, I know,
so we might have to jump on your asteroid and watch it just once.
With the live orchestra.
Indeed. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so to counter that, then, so that's a sci-fi film. We'll let you have a fantasy film as well. Fantasy can be whatever you decide it's going to be. So we got a good movie selection for you to watch.
Oh, well, okay. Fantasy. Oh, there's only really one choice for that. It's got to be Princess Bride.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff smiles. He likes that one, don't you?
Yeah. It's got everything. I mean, rodents of unusual size. Again, great sword fights.
Yeah.
Six-fingered men. Who doesn't want that? It's
got it all.
Great movie. It's such a that one there you could watch again and again, and you never get tired of it.
When was the last time you watched it? You watched it a few times, presumably.
I have watched it loads of times. I meant to watch it this Christmas and just haven't got round to it yet, but I might do it now. Yeah.
Inspires you.
Yeah. So do you have like a Christmas film that you always have to watch every year? Would it be that one?
It's got to be It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah,
that always. Although again, haven't watched it this year. Meant to.
Yeah. I haven't watched that in a while.
And also Scrooge, the musical, the one with
okay, yeah,
with Albert Finney. It's got some great songs in there. It's got so many good ones. I hate people. I despise them. People are despicable creatures, good for nothing, pickable creatures. I hate people. So it's got so many good songs.
My wife's favorite film of all time is Santa Claus the movie.
Yes,
it's a great film. Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the twins said at Christmas, "Mummy, can we watch your favorite film?" And she was like, "Yes."
Almost as if she queued it up there or something.
Yeah.
Honestly, they want it, so what can we do? Okay. So the final item you are allowed to bring with you, Jason, to provide entertainment on your lonely journey through the infinite cosmos and endless space is a blooming good book. So have you got a blooming good book that you can bring with you?
Oh,
what would it be?
And okay, this is gonna sound a bit wanky and a bit but it's not, believe me, it's not. It would actually be the Mahabharata, which is a Hindu sacred text.
Yeah.
It is the most amazing book I ever read.
Really? Ooh.
Fantastic. It's got everything. It makes Game of Thrones look really, really tame.
Really?
It really is the story of this completely dysfunctional, screwed up family. It's got gods, it's got war, it's got everything, and it's an incredible story that will have you laughing, it will have you terrified, it will have you crying. It's got so many great characters.
Kind of
amazing villains. I love the villains in it, and I kind of side with them over good guys, because but the beauty of this book is the good guys can be kind of dicks, and the bad guys you can sympathize with. So you're like, so it's all areas of gray. And I think, you know what? I mean, these good guys, they're not that great. They're pretty awful and sort of deserved it. And okay, what did he do that was that awful? So it's definitely worth. Honestly, it's such a great book.
Got my interest piqued. I've just googled it now. I've just brought it up, so I'm looking at it. I'm thinking,
it is well worth. It is well worth reading. I would go for the Mahabharata, and I think it's a modern retelling or a modern version, and it's as opposed to reading it all. Shakespeare. But it's a really good. It's definitely worth looking at, and especially for lovers of fantasy and all that, because it's got everything in it, from all sorts of monsters.
That sounds good.
Are we talking like demons and things like that?
We are, and aliens and all sorts. And when I was living out in India, I actually did a series of graphic novels there, a futuristic version of it. So yeah, it's definitely worth looking it up and having a read. You will not. But
I'm also going to give you the opportunity to take one favorite album as well.
oh,
And we'll give you something to play it on as well, so you don't just have to listen to the music from the film
hold
going
it to
round
your
round.
ear and imagine
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
like in
right.
a conch shell or something like that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, it is difficult when it's down to one. As
Mm.
I would probably have. Let's see. Oh God, there's probably there's probably about
Yeah.
three that I'd find really, really okay.
Go on then.
But okay, there would be Roberta Flack's second album,
Okay.
which is a great album.
Mm.
She's just got such a great voice that sort of can reduce you to tears and sort of, but
Mm.
it's just really warm there. Also, then Frank Sinatra's
Oh.
songs for swinging lovers.
Okay.
I'm a
Mm.
swinger, but
Mm.
it's such a great with Nelson Riddle's orchestra.
Yeah, I think
It's
we've got it somewhere. Mm.
it's such a great album. It's like an early concept album,
Mm.
and it's such a great. It's so smooth and
Yeah,
so
it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Just an aside on that one, I remember years and years ago when I used to work for other people, I was on a business trip and I was in Oban, and I remember this so specifically. I was in Oban on the west coast of Scotland. I was in a hotel on my own for the night, and I had that on my headphones, and I was just listening to it, and there was just it was just a moment, and it was dark, the wind, the rain was just sweeping right in. It was
Yeah,
cold as you like, and I'm in the hotel. I turn the lights off. I'm just looking through the window. I'm having a little smoke as well, like I used to do back in the day,
yeah,
and I'm just listening to Frank Sinatra. And it was just one of the when everything clicks, and it's like this isn't so bad. This is
yes,
this is great. This is a good moment. I'm just going to enjoy this now. I've had a crappy day getting here, but you know what? Right now, none of this matters. I just love being where I am right now, just doing this, listening to this music. So and it was that album. It's
yeah. It's such a great warm
it is. Mm.
album, and it's one that you could sink back. You could go Roman, sink back in the bath, open your veins,
Yeah.
and bleed out to it. If your honor had been called into question, what a way to go! Not that I'm recommending it.
No,
That
of course not. No, we wouldn't condone that at all. But no, that's a good one. So we got a good selection of
Mix of
stuff
stuff
to keep
there,
you
yeah.
entertained there, Jason. We got some James
Yeah.
Cagney. We got Mahabharata. Is
Yes.
Mahabharata? There we go. And
Yeah.
we got the Princess Bride. My
Yeah.
goodness, and we got Frank Sinatra that sort of sings
I
out, and a
know.
whole
Yeah, and
bunch of
Metropolis as
Tintin
well.
comics. And
Yeah.
Metropolis.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Bring it
Yeah.
Perfect.
on.
In
Yeah.
their proper German expressionist cinema surrounding as it
Yes.
properly should be. That's
Ah,
fantastic.
fantastic.
Brilliant.
There you go. So that Doom doesn't sound so bad now, does it? The only
No.
downside, of course, is that somebody else has to edit DWMs. So
Yeah.
That's it.
that's open.
We'll
Yes.
give it a go. We'll give it a go.
Yeah.
We'll give it a go. That can't be that difficult, can it? We're joking, of course, Jason. Excuse me. Just have to say, listen, thank you and the team at DWM for bringing us this every month. I'm probably going to sound like a right awful sycophant now, but do you know what? I love the magazine, always have done,
Yeah.
and it's so important, I think, to so many Doctor Who fans just to have that
Thank
little
you.
connection to the program. I think you and the guys, everyone who's ever worked on it, does a cracking job, and I'm sure there won't be a single person listening to this podcast who will disagree with me. Do you think, Jeff?
No, there'll be no one who disagrees. Yeah, everyone, loves the magazine. It's great. Yeah.
You've managed to unify all of them. But no, there will be plenty. Oh God, bring back the other guy.
it's like you're like the Doctor, though, aren't you? You know, DW Doctor Who magazine editors are like the Doctor. They keep regenerating into a new face every now and then.
yeah, that's it. There's so many that have thought, oh, it's not been the same since John Freeman left.
Oh my goodness. I'm a Gary Galat supporter, mate. Gary Galat, no, Gary Russell, no, Alan Barnes, and so on and so on.
Well,
brilliant.
We hope you'll stick on it for a good long while yet.
Please thank
do.
You. Yeah. Thanks.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been great chatting, and
it's been a pleasure.
Looking forward to the 600th issue celebrations next month. And surprises in store. So.
Yeah, wait for those mystery surprises.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Paul. I'm Paul. I know. So thank you to myself, but why not? And thank you to all our listeners who tuned in. Hope you enjoyed this particular episode. And do listen out for more to come. We got plenty up in waiting in the wings, I believe is the vernacular term, right? Something like that.
So, yeah.
Let's do that. Thank you, listeners. We'll see you next time on Who Corner to Corner.